हम इतने अमीर देश नहीं हैं कि इतने धनवान देश नहीं हैं कि इतना हम रिसोर्सेस उस पर लगा सकते हैं। जो हमारे पास जितने रिसोर्सेस हैं उनको लगा के जो हम करवा सकते हैं वो हम करवाएंगे। और अगर हमें विकसित देश बनना है तो उसके लिए हमें इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ लानी है। और आज के दिन में इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ जो है, सबसे ज़्यादा जो सोर्स ऑफ ग्रोथ जो है वो टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो कि प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ाएगी, एफिशिएंसी बढ़ाएगी, लोगों की अर्निंग को बढ़ाएगी। अब हम एक बैलेंस ढंग से चलना चाहते हैं। वी वांट टू पुट इनोवेशन फर्स्ट एंड देयर आर मेनी वेज इन विच India can benefit from AI. We are also saying, we are also assuring that regulation is not our immediate priority.
Right.
Immediate priority is to encourage innovation. But we will not step back on regulation.
हेलो एंड वेलकम टू एबीपी लाइव। आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही खास गेस्ट मौजूद हैं, श्री एस कृष्णन जी, जो सेक्रेटरी हैं मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड आईटी के। सर, सबसे पहले तो आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे शो पे।
धन्यवाद, थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी ऑन योर शो।
प्लेजर सर। सर, इंडिया के बहुत ही एम्बिशियस प्लान्स हैं आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को लेके, जिसे एआई भी कहते हैं। इंडिया का अपना इंडिया एआई मिशन भी है। तो अगर हम लॉन्ग टर्म ग्रोथ की बात करें, लॉन्ग टर्म हमारी स्ट्रैटेजी क्या है, हम इंडिया का विजन क्या है?
देखिए, जो इंडिया का बेसिक विजन आज के दिन पे जो है ये है कि 2047 तक इंडिया जो है एक डेवलप्ड नेशन बन जाए। विकसित भारत 2047 हमारा गोल है
जी।
और अगर हमें विकसित देश बनना है तो उसके लिए हमें इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ लानी है। और आज के दिन में इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ जो है, सबसे ज़्यादा जो सोर्स ऑफ ग्रोथ जो है वो टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो कि प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ाएगी, एफिशिएंसी बढ़ाएगी, लोगों की अर्निंग को बढ़ाएगी। और टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से ही बाकी सेक्टर सब बढ़ सकते हैं। तो हमारा ये जो स्ट्रैटेजी, जो देश का स्ट्रैटेजी है, वो विकसित भारत 2047 का है। उसको अचीव करने के लिए, वहाँ तक पहुँचने के लिए हमें पूरी तरह से टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज़ करना पड़ेगा।
सर, आपने शब्द का इस्तेमाल किया टेक्नोलॉजी। टेक्नोलॉजी एक ऐसी चीज़ है जिसके लिए प्रॉपर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होना भी बहुत ज़रूरी है। क्या लगता है आपको कि हमारे पास प्रॉपर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है जिससे हम ऑप्टिमाइज यूज़ कर पाएँ अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी का, बिकॉज हमें एआई में लीडर बनना है?
देखिए, बात अगेन इसमें ऐसी है कि जैसे आप देखें कि प्रीवियसली, इससे पहले जिस एरियाज में भारत ने अच्छी तरह परफॉर्म किया है, जिसमें काफ़ी सारे उपलब्धताएं मिली हैं भारत को, उनको आप लेके देखें तो वो टेक्नोलॉजी स्पेस में, जैसे मोबाइल फ़ोन्स का हुआ रेवोल्यूशन, जैसे लोगों का जो कनेक्टिविटी हुआ, या फिर डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का हुआ, या आईटी सेक्टर में जो हुआ, ये सब, और इन तीनों क्षेत्रों में आज भारत एक लीडर है। और ये लीडर कैसे उभरा? उस टाइम पे तो हमारे पास ये तो हम नहीं कह सकते हैं कि परफेक्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर था, सब एकदम सही ढंग से बना हुआ था। कुछ हद तक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर था, कुछ हद तक हमने इनोवेट किया, कुछ हद तक हम लीप फ्रॉग करके आगे बढ़ गए। तो एआई के जगह में भी हमारा जो रास्ता है, हम जो मार्ग निकाल के चलेंगे, वो अलग ढंग का मार्ग होगा, जिसमें कि हमारा जो इन्वेस्टमेंट या जो हमारा हमारा मेन एम्फेसिस जो होगा वो फ्रूगल इनोवेशन पे होगा। हमारा ये नहीं होगा कि हम जितना पैसा भी चाहिए उतना पैसा हम लगा देंगे। हम इतने अमीर देश नहीं हैं कि इतने धनवान देश नहीं हैं कि इतना हम रिसोर्सेस उस पे लगा सकते हैं। जो हमारे पास जितने रिसोर्सेस हैं उनको लगा के जो हम करवा सकते हैं वो हम करवाएंगे।
सर, आपने इनोवेशन का जिक्र किया। गवर्नेंस और रेगुलेशन को मद्देनजर रखते हुए, इसके ऊपर ध्यान रखते हुए, मेटी इनोवेशन को और किस प्रकार से प्रमोट करता है?
देखिए, अब गवर्नेंस और जैसे ये बात है कि एआई के स्पेस में ये बोला जा रहा है कि या तो आप रेगुलेशन कर सकते हो, क्योंकि एआई की वजह से काफ़ी सारे डिसएडवांटेजेस हो सकती हैं या काफ़ी रिस्क्स हैं। तो वो रिस्क्स ना पड़ें कोई देश पे, इसके लिए आप रेगुलेशन बहुत तगड़ा उसके लिए बनाना चाहिए। ये एक तरफ बोला जा रहा है। दूसरी तरफ ये बोला जा रहा है कि नहीं, ये नई टेक्नोलॉजी है और इसमें इनोवेशन लाना चाहिए, और इनोवेशन तभी आएगा जब आप ओवर रेगुलेट नहीं करोगे। अब हम एक बैलेंस ढंग से चलना चाहते हैं। वी वांट टू पुट इनोवेशन फर्स्ट, क्योंकि हमारा जो व्यू है, इंडिया का जो व्यू है रिगार्डिंग एआई, वो ये है कि इससे काफ़ी सारे फायदा हो सकता है देश को, एंड देयर आर मेनी वेज इन विच इंडिया कैन बेनिफिट फ्रॉम एआई. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट, एज आई सेड, दिस इज द न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, एंड इस टेक्नोलॉजी के द्वारा प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ सकता है, एफिशिएंसी बढ़ सकती है. तो अगर ये दोनों बढ़ना है तो इन दोनों को हमको बढ़ावा देना है, तो हमको ये टेक्नोलॉजी जितना हो सके उतना इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहिए. और इसके लिए, जैसे आप पहले बता रहे थे, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की ज़रूरत है. एआई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए हमें सबसे पहले कंप्यूट फैसिलिटी चाहिए.
Correct.
और दूसरी बात, अच्छे मॉडल्स चाहिए, फाउंडेशन मॉडल्स चाहिए. तीसरी बात, डेटा चाहिए. हमारे पास डेटा है, और इस डेटा को यूजफुल बनाने के लिए, यूजेबल बनाने के लिए हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए. उस पर हमारी कोशिश है. हमारे पास एआई कंप्यूट को बढ़ावा देना है. तो हमारे एआई मिशन में इन तीनों चीज़ों को मुख्यत्व देकर, महत्व देकर हम कर रहे हैं. एआई कंप्यूट ऑलरेडी हमारा जो मॉडल है, जो कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर एआई कंप्यूट लगाएगा, और इंडिया जो है उस एआई कंप्यूट को कैसे यूज़ करेगा, क्या करेगा, उसके लिए हम काम कर रहे हैं. और वो हम एक डिमांड उनको अश्योर कर रहे हैं कि इतना आपको डिमांड रहेगा, आप लगाइए. और हम इनोवेटर्स के लिए, रिसर्चर्स के लिए, स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, स्टार्टअप्स के लिए, एमएसएमईज के लिए ये सब्सिडाइज करके उनको एक्सेस देंगे. ये एक यूनिक मॉडल है, किसी और देश ने ऐसा मॉडल नहीं अपनाया है. इसी तरह जो है हम फाउंडेशन मॉडल्स बनाने के लिए भी असिस्टेंस दे रहे हैं. इसी हफ्ते माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 12 स्टार्टअप्स और इंस्टीट्यूशन से मिले, जहाँ पे ये काफ़ी सारे इनोवेटर्स जो फाउंडेशन मॉडल्स बना रहे हैं इंडिया के लिए, वो लोग आए हुए थे. हमारा जो एआई कोश प्लेटफॉर्म है, उसमें 6000 से ज़्यादा अभी डेटाबेसेस अवेलेबल हैं, जो कि कोई भी इनोवेटर यूज़ कर सकते हैं. तो इस किस्म से हम जो है, वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग दी बेस लेयर ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फॉर एआई. The other part of it is that we are also saying, we are also assuring that regulation is not our immediate priority.
Right.
Immediate priority is to encourage innovation. But we will not step back on regulation. It is not that regulation will not be used. I'll come to that aspect presently. We believe there are 2 or 3 aspects which are important in AI and the way India adapts to it. First and foremost, unlike in other types of technology, जिसमें कि मैनुअल लेबर को रिप्लेस किया, जैसे हाथ से जो काम करते हैं उसको रिप्लेस करके ऑटोमेट किया, और काम जो मैन्युअली करते थे वो मशीनरी से करवाने लगे. प्रीवियस इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशंस में ऐसा हुआ. लेकिन ये एआई रेवोल्यूशन जो है, जो इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन 5 कहलाता है, उसमें यह है कि जो बुद्धिजीवी हैं, जो इंटेलेक्चुअल एबिलिटी लगाते हैं, उनको रिप्लेस किया जा रहा है. कॉग्निटिव वर्क इज बीइंग रिप्लेस्ड and that is being automated. So there is an issue there as to how this can actually ये कैसे play out करेगा. इंडिया, जहाँ तक इंडिया का सवाल है, यहाँ पे जो वाइट कॉलर एम्प्लॉयमेंट है वो काफ़ी लिमिटेड है कंपेयर टू द वेस्ट. सो वेस्ट में ये जो फर्स्ट टाइम जो वाइट कॉलर जॉब्स रिप्लेस हो रहे हैं, उसके खिलाफ उनको एक खौफ है, उनको एक डर है कि हमारे नौकरियां चली जाएंगी, और इसका प्रॉब्लम है. इंडिया में इतने सारे वो नौकरियां नहीं हैं कि हम इतना डरें. तो एक तो बात ये हुई, द इम्पैक्ट इज लेस. दूसरी बात ये हुई कि हमारे लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है, क्योंकि हमारा जो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स और वाइट कॉलर एम्प्लॉयज़ जो हैं, वो सबसे अच्छे ट्रेंड माने जाते हैं आईटी और इस एरिया में. और वो स्किल यूज़ करके हम ये कर सकते हैं कि एआई एप्लीकेशंस और बनाएं जो कि डिप्लॉय किया जा सकते हैं, नॉट जस्ट इन इंडिया बट ग्लोबली. वो एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है. और तीसरी बात, हमें ये मान के चलना चाहिए कि नॉर्मली जो होता है, ये हमारे हम ये मानते हैं कि भाई ये काम, एक कोई काम हो रहा है तो उसको बड़े एफिशिएंटली कर लेंगे तो काम ख़त्म हो जाएगा और कम लोगों की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी और लोगों की नौकरियां चली जाएंगी. लेकिन एआई एक ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी है जो ये पॉसिबिलिटी देती है कि पहले जब हमारे पास कोई प्रोडक्ट नहीं था, कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं था, उससे बढ़िया और उससे अच्छा नए चीज़ें बन सकती हैं, नई प्रोडक्ट्स सर्विसेज बन सकती हैं, नई प्रोडक्ट्स बन सकती हैं. तो उस हिसाब से we can actually deliver something which we never expected. And you can actually deliver something which was beyond imagination earlier. So which means the possibilities are so much more. And that is what we need to recognize. And so we need to approach AI with a positive mindset, with the kind of positive impact that it can have on the lives and livelihoods of people. And that is actually the goal of our AI summit as well.
This was a very big misconception that AI will eventually replace jobs and humans. But thanks to you, you have just busted that myth. But sir, how about training? We need to also train our next generation to leverage the best of artificial intelligence. So are we having any special schemes or any special programs?
I think what I need to point out, there are 2 or 3 things on the human resource part. I think the AI Stanford Readiness Report, the Stanford University's AI Readiness Reports, actually rates India as the best skill penetration in AI. So, and from the skilling perspective, or actually the talent of our human resources is the biggest advantage we have in the AI space. I think that is the first an important thing. And in fact, India ranks 3rd in the AI Vibrancy Report behind the United States and China. And the primary strength is on the basis of talent. So I think we should we clearly understand our strengths. It's important to know that talent is our biggest strength in the AI space.
Correct.
But having said that, given the size of our population, you can't have a wide disparity even within India of those who can actually have the talent to use AI, apply AI, and do a variety of things with the AI, and those who don't know anything about it at all.
Correct.
So we can't afford that situation. So we are taking up, and everybody, and our intent is to address this at multiple levels. First and foremost is in the education system. So make AI as part of the school curriculum, make AI as part of the college and university curriculum, and make sure that everybody learns about AI, because it's a horizontal technology which will impact every discipline.
Right.
It's not as if only those who are studying computer science or engineering should know about it. Everyone needs to know about AI.
Correct.
That is the first thing. The second thing is that we also, because these are people who are in schools and colleges, and there are many people who are outside of this. And I think for that, we have a number of programs which we've launched primarily through METI, but also through other ministries. We do a program called Future Skills Prime, which we do with NASSCOM. And there what we do is training and retraining and upskilling people with AI skills, which is a huge new development that we're doing, and I think that is significant.
That's brilliant.
Likewise, we have other programs which METI also does. We have an institution called NILIT, and NILIT has recently launched something called the NILIT Digital University Platform. NILIT annually reaches more than 1 million students and trainees across India, particularly in those states where other forms of education in electronics and information technology are not available. For instance, they have 20 centers in the Northeast. Out of their 55 centers, 20 are in the Northeast. There are many in the hill states. We are present in Jammu and Kashmir. We are present in many of those kind of places where no other skilling agencies are present. And through them also, we are doing an extensive outreach in AI. Plus, even for government servants, for instance, in the IGOT platform, which is meant for civil servants and various government employees, one of the most popular, the second most popular course is actually on AI, and people wanting to learn more about it. So I think it's an extensive effort. METI has an important role, but across government, various ministries, the Education Ministry, the Skill Development Ministry, and various other ministries, MSME Ministry, many of those, Agriculture Ministry, where AI applications are being deployed. All of them are also working on the skilling, as are almost every state government. So I think I'm confident that through these mechanisms, we will skill and we will sort of ensure that at every level of what is needed for AI, that kind of awareness building, skill building will be done.
Rightly said, sir. Sir, in order to become an AI developer and a leader in artificial intelligence, what new initiatives is India taking for the coming 5 years?
See, I think the most important thing, like you said, there's one which is, the broad section of the population whom we need to train and so on. But to focus on the cutting edge of AI, I think that's where, through the India AI mission, we have supported those who are building foundation models and those who are building applications. In addition, the Ministry of Education is setting up 4 centers of excellence in AI, which they've already announced. There's one center of excellence which deals primarily with agriculture-related issues, and that is to be established at IIT Ropar in association with a number of institutions. There's one which deals with healthcare, which is jointly between IIT Delhi and AIIMS Delhi, and with a number of other institutions. There's one in urban infrastructure and smart cities, which is based out of IIT Kanpur. And there's one on AI in education, which is based out of IIT Madras. So these 4 centers are actually looking at the cutting edge area of how AI can be used in association with other universities. Plus, from MITI, we are supporting PhD programs and MTech programs of students who want to work in AI with a fairly attractive stipend, because in order to attract them into this field and make sure that they work on this, because see, ultimately to build a model, you don't need a huge number of people. You need some very bright but limited number of people. So we are focusing at that end also by looking at what we can do with our higher education institutions. And the other thing which is happening as we speak is many experts in AI and otherwise, many very bright students, bright youngsters are returning to India to work on this from whichever university they've been abroad. I think that's also a very good development.
So talking about sectors, there are multiple sectors which demands AI intervention plus AI expertise. So which are the key sectors that you expect AI can actually become a game changer for those?
See, I think if you sort of start looking at that and identifying, I think what is important and what we need to look at is those places where, and especially in the Indian context, you see, you can keep talking about, the other things that AI can do remarkably well. But AI at a basic level can be applied in some of the productive sectors of the economy in order to enhance productivity and efficiency. So we believe in areas like agriculture, manufacturing, healthcare, education, governance. All of these are important sectors where AI can be applied, where significantly better outcomes can be realized and it can make a real impact. In manufacturing, using AI of various kinds means that you can enhance productivity, you can enhance efficiency. Likewise, in agriculture, you can time your crops better, you can figure out where you need to grow what, you can get timely advice and move forward. In healthcare, in terms of disease diagnosis, the use of AI can really improve things. And in the space of drug discovery, it can make a huge difference. In the area of, say, education, in terms of delivering quality education across the country, I think it can make a huge difference. So in each of these areas, I think AI can play a very, very significant role and an important role. And especially, I think also in enhancing governance, it can make a huge role. See, we have to understand that a country like India does not have too many, often we think that we have too many government servants or too many people in the public sector and government. It is really not true, because if you compare on a per percentage population basis, I don't think India has too many policemen, India doesn't have too many nurses, India doesn't have too many teachers, India doesn't have too many doctors. These are all, there's a requirement for people in each of these spaces. And sometimes, given the state of public finances, of state governments, of Government of India, it's difficult for them to hire so many people, engage so many people on the basis that what you need. And using AI can enhance the productivity of many of these people, and we can improve the quality of governance significantly.
So India is proudly hosting AI Impact Summit in February 2026. So what would be the scale of the event?
Well, it is probably the largest of the 4 AI summits hosted thus far. We are expecting more than 100 countries to participate. we are expecting about 15 heads of government, between 12 and 15 heads of governments to be there. We are expecting about 45 to 50 minister level representations from countries. We are expecting at least about 40 to 50 CEOs of leading global companies, Indian companies, to be participating. In addition, nearly about 500 prominent figures in the AI space, whether they are innovators, researchers, CTOs, people of that stature, they would all be there. We are showcasing about 400 startups. We are showcasing other major companies as to what they're doing in the AI space. There are close to about 600 side events to be held alongside the main events which will be held. So you can expect a very, very large show.
And what are the outcomes that we're expecting from the event?
The outcomes primarily, I think, internationally, there's a feeling that we need to converge on what the world expects the direction that AI should take. Currently, I think globally, that understanding is a little divided. We are hoping that this summit will provide an opportunity for a number of countries to get together, and also international organizations. For instance, the Secretary General of the United Nations is expected to attend. We are expecting about 6 or 7 heads of international organizations to be present. So all of this will build some kind of a consensus on how the world intends to approach various areas regarding various issues regarding AI. And our goal, which the Prime Minister has clearly articulated, is also inclusive technology and democratization of technology, which means that this technology needs to be available to everybody in every country, and especially in the global south. So I think to push forward that vision and to make it something which is which becomes truly inclusive, because you have to note that this is the first time that a country of the global south is hosting the AI summit.
Correct.
So the expectations are also very high.
So are there any major announcements or maybe MOUs or revelations that are going to happen?
See, I think the important thing you need to understand about this is that this is not an investment summit.
That's correct.
Right? And so there are not going to be MOUs and somebody announcing saying we are putting down so much money. They may, some people may talk about some of what they are doing. But that's not what we are targeting. And it's not about coming and making announcements about investments. That's not our primary goal. Our primary goal is a clearer understanding of AI, how AI will evolve and how AI will be used to create positive impact in the world, and how each player who's involved in this and every stakeholder who's involved in this, what their roles will be and how we expect this to play out in the days to come.
So since our vision is to become an AI leader and not just a follower, so how do we ensure that we maintain a positive momentum in the startup ecosystem, that okay, fine, we are the leaders in AI, we are developing businesses, we are developing startups, which will tomorrow lead in the artificial intelligence globally?
You know, when I was in response to one of the earlier questions, I had pointed out that India has the potential to actually become the application or use case capital in the world.
Right.
Let's understand this. Today's leading AI companies are all those companies who are either creating the infrastructure in terms of, you know, the processors and servers and so on, or those who are building those big models, or those who are doing the big data centers. Right? These are the three categories of companies who are sort of really looking like the leaders in the AI space. Right? But eventually, when AI has to have an impact, and the people who will make money off of AI are those who are going to develop the applications and deploy them, the use cases. And that is where I think India has an advantage. We are an IT powerhouse.
That's correct.
And ITES companies, today the risk is that, you know, the programmers and coders could lose their jobs at one level. But if you look at it at another level, they are the guys who are best positioned to create AI applications.
Correct.
Right? And if they create those applications and they are able to deploy them, and deploy them not just in India, not just for the government, but for the Indian private sector for the global economy, then I think that's a huge opportunity, and that is where we can actually lead.
Correct.
And that is where the opportunities exist both for our companies and for our startups, because startups are much more nimble, and many of them are building all these wonderful applications already. And that is one big opportunity. They'll have to showcase what they're doing.
Sir, IT itself is a sector, and with the correct penetration and deep penetration of AI, where do you see this sector going in the next 5 to 10 years? Let's say 2035 or 2047.
You see, this is the same question that I asked myself when I came to this ministry, saying, how big is India's digital economy?
Right.
Okay. So we had a study done by the Indian Council for International Economic Research, ICRIER, saying that, can you estimate the size of India's digital economy? Because there are no clear estimates. So what they found in their study was that the digital economy, they adopted a definition which broadly covered the entire ITES area, the electronics area, which goes directly into the space, and some of those sectors which are primarily digital, right? But they did not cover those sectors which are enabled by digital tools. They left that out because their primary job is something else. Digital tools are used everywhere. And they found that about, say, 10 years ago, the size of the digital economy was about 6 to 7%. In 23-24, for the year which they used as a base, it had gone up to almost about 13%. And it's growing at twice the rate of the rest of the economy, which means by about 2030, it will be almost 20%, 1/5 of the economy. So the rate of growth of the digital sector has been significantly faster than the rest of the economy, whether you take electronics or whether you take the other applications of it. And I expect that it will continue to grow. It's what is going to drive India's growth to a Viksit Bharat by 2047.
2047. So you just mentioned that this is a question I'm asked myself. Each and every leader have their own goals and own visions. So what are your personal goals towards, of course, developing this digital economy? Everybody have their own personal goals as well.
Look, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a civil servant and I have limitations of how far I can push this. But I would like to enable and facilitate the use of technology. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to be here at the right time. So how do we enable the use of this technology? How do you enable this sector? How do you give them all the facilitative and enabling features to actually grow? How do we support this? I mean, that would be my limited goal. Further, how it catches on, it's in the hands of all the people who will be working around it. But we need to lay down a policy framework which will enable them to do this.
And how do we lay down this policy framework? Because in the first answer, I think you mentioned that maybe I'll talk about regulation later.
Yeah, so I did mention to you that the regulation part of it is something which we'll come to later, in the sense that our primary objective now is innovation. And what we will fuel is innovation. Regulation is something which, partly in the Indian context, existing laws are quite adequate to address some of the issues on regulation. If you look at something like misrepresentation, existing IT Act and the IT rules have provisions to address misrepresentation, and I think they've been reasonably effective. Of course, this keeps coming up as an issue. People do keep trying to do a variety of things with AI and create deepfakes and so on.
Right.
But I think to a significant extent, we've been able to use existing laws to control it. And where necessary, we've been ready to tweak it slightly, the IT rules and so on. Eventually, if there is a need, we will legislate. We can legislate at short notice. We are following developments closely. We are following global developments also closely. So if there's a need, we will legislate. But that is not our priority. Our priority is to ensure that AI is used for innovation and it achieves that goal. And if it is to guard against any negative elements of AI, that we need the other measures.
Why I mentioned this, because there's a thin line between using AI and misusing AI. And that is why, as you mentioned, that we will someday we will need regulation.
True, but
as
you
and
see,
when required.
As and when required, but some elements of it are already in place. See, what are the risks of AI? One is we talked about deepfakes and image representation. Another is how do they use data?
Correct.
So how do they use personal data is one thing. So the DPDP Act is in place. The Digital Personal Data Protection Act is in place. So that gives some protection in the way that personal data can be used in the AI world. Likewise, what about copyrighted information? You belong to a media house.
Right.
Media houses have concern as to how their content is being used by AI entities. Recently, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry had a committee which has brought out a working paper on what they think would be a framework by which the issues of copyright and intellectual property and AI can be dealt with. That paper will be out for consultation. We'll take note of industry feedback and then figure out how to go forward on that. So these elements, some of these elements of legal provisions are already in place. We had a committee which MeitY had appointed under the principal scientific advisor to advise on what the AI governance framework for India should be.
Right.
And very wisely, the committee has advised us saying that please try and use existing laws to the extent possible. Don't rush into legislation. Innovation should be the first option.
Of course.
And that is what we work towards. Use existing provisions to the extent possible. And then through a framework, try and see how the AI regulation will emerge. So we will follow some of the recommendations of that committee, and we at least have some framework which they have prescribed, and I think we are more or less in line with what has been stated there.
Of course, sir, and rightly said. And we wish you all the luck for the upcoming AI Impact Summit.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We hope to be there.
And you should be there. So.
Of course we will. And thank you, sir. It was such an insightful session. And we hope that India becomes a leader in AI even before 2047. We must not wait till 2047. Within 5 or 6 years, we should
I think, let me clarify what I said. I think we should become a leader in AI well before 2047.
Yes.
Absolutely. But AI is what will make us a Viksit Bharat.
That's correct. Thank you so much, sir.